All right, if you're a business owner, I'm willing to bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. That nagging feeling that things are just harder, more draining than they should be. Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of why that is. And, way more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So let me just ask you straight up, does your business feel heavy? You know, like you're pushing a giant boulder uphill every single day? If that question resonates with you, if it hits home, then you are absolutely in the right place. Because we're about to figure out exactly where all that weight is coming from. There are really two versions of how a business can feel. There's the goal, right? Where decisions are clear, you're working with the right clients, and things just flow. And then there's the grind. More effort, more explaining, constantly fixing things. Now, be honest with yourself. Which one of those sounds more like your reality right now? And what's so interesting here is that being busy, that's actually not the problem. I mean, look at the story from Lisa Murphy. Her calendar was totally full. The business was growing on paper, but the work itself, it just felt heavy. And here's the kicker. The issue wasn't the volume of work. It was the alignment. It was the wrong kind of busy. Okay, so how do you know if you're dealing with one of these alignment issues? Let's run a really quick diagnostic. Think of it like a little clarity test for your business. And I really want you to do this with me, okay? Because I think the answers might just surprise you. All right, here's how it's going to work. Super simple. Step one, I want you to think of your last 5 client interactions. And listen, this is really important. Don't pick the highlight reel. Not the best ones, just the most recent 5, the normal, everyday stuff. You got them? Okay, great. Now we're going to go through 3 questions, and I want you to be really honest with yourself. All right, question number 1. Thinking about those 5 clients, did you have to over-explain what you do? I mean, did you find yourself having to justify your process or your value, or maybe even your pricing way more than felt natural? Just think, yes or no? Okay, question 2. For those same clients, did they end up needing a lot more, hand-holding than you expected? This is that sneaky, hidden work that just pops up after the deal is done. The constant emails, the extra calls that you never really planned for. And number 3, and honestly, this might be the most important one. Did that work take more energy from you than it should have? When it was all said and done, did you feel energized and excited or just completely drained? So, how'd you do? If you found yourself answering yes more than once, then the diagnosis is actually pretty simple. You don't have a work ethic problem, and you don't have a skill problem. What you have is a clarity issue. And believe it or not, that's actually really good news, because clarity, that's something we can fix. Okay, so let's dig into how this problem actually shows up. Because a lack of clarity, it does more than just make you feel tired. It creates all this friction across your entire business, and it often shows up in these subtle ways that you might not have connected back to this one root cause. So what does this friction actually look like day to day? Well, it's things like the wrong client saying yes way too easily, while the ones you really want to work with seem to hesitate. It's those sales cycles that just seem to drag on and on forever, or, that constant back and forth chain of emails just to get a simple project off the ground. Every single one of these, they're all just symptoms of the very same problem. And this is so important, so please hear this. That feeling of being totally overwhelmed, it's not because you're doing more work. It's because you're doing the wrong work. All that energy is being spent on fighting misalignment instead of actually getting the great results that you and your clients are after. Which brings us right to the real, honest-to-goodness cause of burnout. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is not what most people think. Seriously, most people get this completely wrong. First things first, let's get one thing straight. The problem is not a lack of experience. You are good at what you do. You have the skills. That is not what's causing all this friction. And it is definitely not a lack of effort. I mean, come on. If you're feeling this heaviness in your business, I'm willing to bet you're one of the hardest working people you know. So let's just take that idea and throw it right out the window. The real problem, the one thing that's underneath everything we've been talking about, is a lack of clarity. It's that simple. When your message, your offer, and who you serve aren't crystal clear, your entire business has to run on just brute force and effort. And that is absolutely exhausting. So what do I even mean by business clarity? Well, it's pretty simple. It's when your message and your offer are so incredibly clear that 2 amazing things happen automatically. First, the right clients move forward faster and with way more confidence. And second, and this is just as important, the wrong clients just move on. They select themselves out, no fuss, no friction.
All right, so we've figured out the problem. We've put a name to it. Now for the good part. Let's talk about the solution, the path to a business that actually feels lighter and more sustainable. Because I'm telling you, getting this clarity thing right, it changes everything.
And it really comes down to three core pillars. You need to have absolute, rock-solid clarity on, number one, who you serve, number two, what specific problem you solve for them, and number three, what you actually deliver. When those three things lock into place, all that friction just starts to melt away. And the difference this makes is just night and day, right? Without clarity, you're stuck attracting clients who aren't a great fit, and you waste all your time and energy just explaining and reassuring. But with clarity, the right people step up faster. The wrong people just kind of disappear. And all that energy you are wasting, it comes flooding right back into your business. That right there is the clarity dividend. Okay, I know this all sounds great in theory, but I can practically hear you thinking, all right, this is great, but how do I actually fix this? What's the next step? We need something practical, something you can do right now. Well, look, one of the most practical things you can do is learn from an expert who lives and breathes this stuff. There's an event coming up called the Business Built Limitless Summit, happening April 24th and 25th. And there's a guide there, Josh Hall, who is leading sessions focused specifically on simplifying your message, your offer, and your whole business structure. Honestly, he's one of the best out there on this. And the best part of all, it's totally free to attend. Seriously, if your business feels heavy right now, if you are just sick and tired of the grind, this is one of the fastest, most direct ways to start getting rid of that friction. This is how you begin to get that energy back and build something that's actually sustainable for the long haul. So I just want to leave you with this one thought. What if all that extra weight you've been carrying could finally be lifted? What would it be like if your business could finally feel lighter, more focused, and even energizing again? Because that is exactly what clarity makes possible.